Jimmy Wooten, what's up, bro?
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good.
So, man, I feel bad I hadn't reached out yet, but I'm glad I finally got you on, and I just now recently saw you play for the first time actually on a set here a couple weeks ago, and you're doing a lot of things, man, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, man, things have been good lately.
Yeah?
Keeping busy.
Yeah. Well, tell me how you transitioned into playing, doing what you're doing now and kind of how you found your sound. And, dude, I want to talk about the whole journey, so let's take it back to when you started.
Like the beginning?
Yeah, man, the beginning, man.
All right. Well, my mom and dad played music for a living when I was growing up. So they did it professionally until I was about 15 years old. So I grew up started playing drums when I was like 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
I'm sure if you go, they got some old videos. I'm sure I wasn't so good, but I could carry a beat, you know, and just would sit in with them and jam, and they'd feature me at little festivals and stuff, or wherever I could get in that they were playing. I'd sit in and play. Then I picked up guitar and just always kind of played something, you know. So we grew up around the music. And
what age do you think you picked guitar up at?
I was playing some stuff when I was like 7 or 8 years old, but not like my dad. He gave me a guitar with like one string on it. Yeah. And said, you can make some sound on one string, then we'll give you some more strings.
Nice.
Because your fingers will hurt. You try to learn how to play guitar, your fingers are going to hurt. It's going to sound worse before it sounds better. But he just kind of started me on some little blues kind of riffs and stuff. But I never really took it seriously until I was like 13 or 14.
Okay.
When I went to high school, I went to Caddo Magnet. I was in the jazz band, so I played multiple instruments in the jazz band there. Just picked it up, and my first professional gig was on my own, was playing drums.
Okay. Straight
out of high school, I played drums for Joe Nato. Okay. He's a local blues guitarist. Yeah. He played with Kenny Wayne Shepherd. He's kind of a local legend. I'm 17 years old, touring as his drummer. That kind of got me out making actual money, for doing it for a living, and just slowly transitioning to other instruments with other people, and then singing and playing guitar, writing songs. This is the condensed version, but just...
Hey, man, we got plenty of time.
I've been playing music for a living since 2001, so...
Okay.
It's been a long journey, but, later in life, I toured with Neal McCoy for 7 years as his bass player, and played some of the biggest country music festivals you can imagine, played the Grand Ole Opry a lot of times. And then just last May of 21, I was like, I think it's time for me to go and do my own thing and get out there, and so I gave Neal my notice. If I work for somebody else, I'd work for him. He's a great boss. Yeah. But I just thought it was time, and ever since then, stuff's been just kind of, trucking along.
And so but it's interesting. So how many instruments can you play? Like, because you said you played multiple instruments.
Well, my forte, my instrument sound I played professionally would be anything like remotely like a guitar, but mostly guitar, bass guitar, drums.
Drums, okay.
And then I sing, obviously. Yeah. But I play keyboard. Like, I own a recording studio, so when I'm producing other artists, if they can't afford like a real keyboard player, then I'll play the keys. But I'm not going to do it in public.
I got you. So it's just always interesting to me. Anyone who's musically inclined that can play multiple things, I've messed around with the guitar since I was like 12, but I'm never really that great. I'm not going to play in public or anything. But I've always played, my family played guitar, and sang and all that. So I was in the background and kind of taught myself. Right. But I was never able to like play piano or play drums, just one of those things. I think I played saxophone in band, like middle school. I don't tell many people that. But no, man. But where did the singing come in? So how does that come into play?
To be 100% honest, I always knew I had, pitch. I could tell, I could hum along and sing, but like in high school, we had battle of the bands and stuff like that, different things. And, everyone trying to find a singer, and it seemed like everybody that was going to be a singer was had a bad attitude, or there was something. I was like, trying to find a singer is terrible. I was like, I'm just going to try to sing. Mm-hmm. And I tried it. It didn't sound so great to me. But we won some contests at school, I think we were playing I sang like "Loser" by Three Doors Down. Yeah. And then on the flip side, I sang "Magic Carpet Ride" by Steppenwolf.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know, and just did it, and it, I've developed my voice over the years, singing a lot and singing with people better than me, playing with people better than me. I've always had a plethora of older, experienced musicians that have helped kind of whether they're teaching me something, I'm just soaking it up like a sponge.
Yeah.
I mean, still to this day, I mean, you can learn something at any point in time, you know.
Yeah.
Getting inspired by others, and that helps you grow.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like that's in any outlook on life. Like if you're around people that are better than you, it's going to shape you, mold you, and also help you find your way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you keep bad company, it may go the other way too.
Yeah. Well, so you've been toured with Neal for years, and that's just pure '90s country right there. I mean, so like. You know, me just hearing you the other day, I was like, dude, holy shit, because I'm a huge blues fan. You don't hear a lot of, like, there's not many people who have that anymore, you know, especially coming out as a new artist. So, like, where did you find that like, that whole style of music?
You know, I mean, I cut my teeth playing blues, classic rock, and country.
Yeah.
That's what my mom and dad played. Like I said, like, my first drum gig was with Joe Nato, who's a great blues player. Right. But, you know, I've kind of found my sound through the years. Like my first EP I put out was entitled Shine. Shine's my single. It's kind of a blues rock tune. But what I realize is that everything that I do is based in the roots that music comes from, which would be blues, you know, country, bluegrass, gospel, you know, R&B, even gospel hymns, you know, and it's all closely related. And when I was growing up, I didn't realize Americana was a genre. No one told me that. I mean, like my dad, we listened to Steve Earle, you know, or just different people that were totally in, that are Americana artists. And by definition, it's music that comes from American roots, you know. And so my newer stuff that I put out, it doesn't get too far away from the blues because I'm rooted in that, but you know, I'm definitely an Americana artist as far as my original stuff goes, you know. Just developing that sound over the years, I realized that there's a common thread with my sound, and I have a raspy voice. It's gotten raspier in my older years because I've sang a lot of shows.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's part of my sound, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's it signifies what you're going for there. So.
But yeah, but I mean, I've authentically been in a reggae band. You know, I've been in all types of genres and long enough to really just feel part of it, and it's all part of me. So like, my goal is to flood a bunch of music this year. I was having a phone meeting earlier about the next single I'm going to record, and it's a little edgier than what I just put out, and just want to keep it.
Can you talk about it any, or is that kind of?
You know, I can. I haven't made a decision on it yet.
Okay. Well, what are you tossing around? What are you thinking about?
Well, I just put out a song on Valentine's Day called "Lay You Down."
Yeah.
It's you know, it's I like it. It's a feel good song, and I've got about 4 or 5 more that are similar vibe, and I know people really like it. Like, actually got picked up by a couple editorial playlists on Spotify, like actual Spotify playlists. That's my first time it's ever happened for me, which is a big thing.
And you're unsigned, right? You're just
pure independent. And now I haven't sought anybody out. That's a whole nother discussion.
No,
but trying to figure out what I want to put out, because some people know me as a guitar player, you know, like playing the blues stuff and just ripping or jamming the guitar or whatever. And some people know me from when I played with Neal McCoy, and they followed me. They know me from different things, but I'm all those things. You know what I mean? So we're touring between a couple of different songs. One of them's, you know, kind of a love song, sort of like the one I just released. It's a funny, true story.
Okay.
And the other one is more of a heartbreak kind of story, and it's got some more R&B and like blues to it. I don't know, but it's still me though.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of finding out what, because in the grand scheme of things, how do I say this right? The common thread to me as a person, as an artist, as a husband, and a father, is I care what my family thinks, and I want to take care of my family. That's my main goal in life. I play music for a living, and I love what I do for a living, but it's all to take care of my family at this point, because I could have fun. If me and you picked the guitars up and just hung out, I could pick around and have fun and enjoy that. But to get to do that for a living, but coming to the realization that, well, I just saw a buddy of mine, you know David Daniels.
Yeah.
He posted on Facebook, I can't quote it because I just looked at it, but he said something about doing the things that you want to do because you want to do them, not because you're wondering if it's what somebody else wants you to do.
Gotcha, yeah.
And that's, when you become a signed artist, people are breathing down your neck, the label, like, you sound like this, but we want you to do this.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
But at the same time, you do need to figure out what it is you want to do. And sometimes what you want to do, there's a certain section of that the fan base likes, and you maybe kind of hammer on that and stay in that realm song-wise, But I've come to the realization now that I want to do what I want to do, and the people that don't like it can listen to somebody else. And I mean that in the most respectful way.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? I'm finding out who I am as an artist and as a person. So this little confusion of which song we should put out, there's really not a wrong answer to it.
Right, because the other one's probably coming behind it at some point anyways, right? You're still going to release it.
The goal is to put out three singles, 4 at the most, and then a full-length record.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I mean, it's just been so cool. So the other night when I heard you play, like, I was getting full on, like, I mean, you were doing all the blues, but, like, you remind me of Tab Benoit. You know him?
Oh, of course. So he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love him, dude. But like, you're well-rounded, and so you're playing different tunes, but your skill on the guitar, and then you say you're a drummer too. It's like those things they're hard to find in the genre that you've kind of pushed to. It's like you're kind of your own unicorn. And I've listened to your sound. I just was listening to some of your music the past few days before I wanted to have you on, and I was like, I've seen you. You know what you're talking about. I've seen it kind of. I hear it develop.
Right.
And like you're in your own lane. So like when you talk to people that are into, like, first off, the music industry has changed so much in the past 10 years. Anyways, like, so there's so many of you guys out there that are independent, unsigned, but so many of these people have taken off, and seen that. And you can use multiple examples of multiple genres of these people who've done it. So it's like making the decision to hop on a boat with someone and then have them alter your sound to fit someone, or just staying in your lane and grinding a little bit harder until you work that way up yourself, and you don't have to share that with anyone else. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like I was telling my wife, and so I'm not signed, but I have partnered up with a label,
right?
Called Tough Luck Records.
Okay,
they're a startup label owned by a friend of mine, and he's out of South Carolina, but nothing's inked. We're not. We do things for each other. You know what I'm saying? And he's been booking me out of town shows and stuff, but so. I'm not just one man in it all, because it's hard.
It's a lot of work. Most people don't know that either. We got to talk about that.
But like I was telling my wife, I don't really care to be famous to the point where you can't go to Walmart or shopping without somebody doing something. But I don't want any bigger success if I have to sacrifice family.
No.
If I have to be on tour for 2 months without my family, I'm not going to do it. If I sign a record deal that says I have to honor, you'll play 200 shows in a year, and every one of those days I'd be doing a radio interview at a radio station with a DJ. That's a major sacrifice, and at what cost? You know what I mean? Like, to me, I own everything that I have. I own. We own my equipment. I own my own recording studio, the Lightning Room. That's my studio here in town. So I track almost everything there, and I'll hire someone to mix it and master it, so I don't have to do that. But I'm playing on almost all my stuff. My new single, I'm playing every instrument on it except for the keys.
Nice.
But my point is I'd like to, if I'm going to build an empire, whatever size it turns out to be, it's for me and for my family. And and I'll never do anything to sacrifice it. It doesn't matter what the number on the bottom line says on a contract. I just because not to get too far into it, but people will say, well, they don't really know because they'll see you playing at Key Mexico, like you saw me play, whatever. And sometimes I'm just the guy in the corner, just people playing guitar, but I'll tell them some things I've done and, tell them about me and my family and just let them know that, this is what I actually do full time.
Yeah, this is not a side hustle. This is like my full on, I'm professional. This is what I do.
Exactly, but they'll be like, well, are you trying to make it? Or you ever thought about being on The Voice? Or it's something, some of that. Yeah. And I'll tell them, to me, I've already made it because I support my family solely doing what I love, playing music. Granted, the next step up would be every show I play would be a concert somebody pays to see me play, a 90-minute concert where I do mostly my music, and then I still play covers. I think covers are fun.
Yeah.
But that would be the ultimate dream at some point, is to only get paid to play my music. But who cares? I have a hustle mentality, we could probably have like 6 of these little sessions. But like when I see people complain about the lack of success they're having and talking bad about other people, they don't realize you don't wake up. I mean, some people have woken up and got discovered.
It doesn't happen very often, though.
There's usually years of sacrifice. You know, so I'm willing to put in the work, but I'm not going to sacrifice my family. And, you know, I'm happy with that.
Well, most people, too, like, they're confused about how it works. And the process is shifted a lot, right? So, like, you know, over the years, it was like, okay, you got to work in these dive bars and these festivals and these things, and then finally you'll get discovered, you know, or you got to go on a show like when Americana come out, you got to go on The Voice, you know, and then finally you'll make it. But what these people don't realize is even those people that are auditioning for those shows, they're already successful musicians, a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like those things are like, it's so far-fetched to believe that someone, you have to go to that level to basically satisfy someone's expectations.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just it's off-putting how people are about that, and I can see where that happens because like, okay, you're playing in this little place, but you're playing there because you love that place. It's not because you have to. You know what I mean? Like, you're not dependent upon playing there. You're like, I like to do local shit because this is where I'm from, and I like to support this area. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like I've been playing out of town more and more.
Yeah.
Like this week, I'm playing. I'm playing a duo, acoustic and bass. My sister playing bass at Rayburn Country Resort. It's down by Sam Rayburn in Brooklyn, Texas.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's St. Patty's Day celebration.
That's a major fishing area down there.
I know, but every time I go down there, I'm not fishing. I wish I would. I do. I'm a big fisher.
Okay.
Bass fishing, but then I'm playing at Key here in town with the trio, and then Saturday we're playing in Longview at a Lone Star Ice House with the trio, but. Yeah, I mean, to me, and people, everybody has an opinion.
Yeah.
But I'll say this too, like 2020, you know, shocked the whole world. Never thought in our lifetime something would be weird like that, where all of a sudden you can't go to work.
Yeah.
Especially in my line of work.
Well, what did you do during that time?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
So I was playing with Neal McCoy.
Yeah.
Neal still had some shows. We'd play some places that were deep Texas or Montana or Idaho, you know, where, I mean.
They were ignoring those mandates and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're just wanting to work. We didn't want to endanger anybody.
Right, exactly. I mean typically those are still outside.
I mean, we keep our distance from people. Yeah. I mean, whatever, you know. But I started doing Facebook Lives. Because one thing, like we're doing this right now, we didn't plan this. You didn't send me any questions to think about. I mean, we're just hanging out, you know. But like, I was always worried, about I shouldn't do a Facebook Live. What if it doesn't sound good? What if it doesn't, you know, I can't fix it while I'm playing? I was like, you know, I just put one microphone in the room, would play acoustic and sing and talk to people. And I gained a lot of fans that way. And then we put up, you know, Cash App and Venmo and tip, you know, and made some good tips. And I would sell my T-shirts, like hold up my merch and sell them during the live feed and stuff. And I mean, it's amazing to think that a lot of my friends like lost houses and cars and things, and like my family did fine. I mean, if we think back to maybe like if there was a number, I'm thinking in my head of what I would have made if I had been still doing all this.
Of course, yeah.
But you know what? God's got a plan, and it isn't always on our time or the way we want it to work out. But I truly think that, you know, I was working hard and he kept my family afloat. You know what I mean? And
yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because so many artists just kind of hung it up during that time too. If you think about that, especially ones who were kind of in the middle there, you know, already discovered but not, you know, mainstream. You know, the mainstream was like, okay, well, I'm off for you or whatever, you know. Right. But like, it's like, I applaud you on that, because I did notice that transition, or a few artists doing that, and a lot of them are still doing that. You know, kind of keeping that flow going to where they can kind of interact, but. To go back to that, it's real. It's like not scripted. You're like, even if I missed the chord while I'm playing. Oh well, you know, it's like it's real, and you're actually able to connect with people. So the good thing, I mean, good and bad that come out of that. The bad is like we weren't able to hang out, but I realized to take that time, just like still doing these, but doing a lot of them via Zoom.
Right.
And it stills a conversation, especially if you're just listening to the audio and not watching the actual videos.
Right.
I mean, either way, it's still conversation, but being able to like physically still connect, or like, you know, virtually still connect with people and feel it, and feel the love, and then answer questions, get a little more personal. That stuff's authentic, man, and a lot of people just didn't go that route. They just said, "Oh, my career's finished," because. And another thing, they probably were dependent upon a team, And
you got to pay that team
exactly.
And then because some of my friends, I won't say any names, but they're played for some big country artists, and some of those artists kept them on a payment retainer, even though they didn't have shows for a long time. But several of them at different times, at one point, had to say, "Look, we have to cut the retainer off." And these people are probably millionaires.
Yeah.
But still
a lot of costs, man.
More money, more problems,
exactly.
Man. You know what I'm saying? You got more bills and more overhead. I mean, if you own a tour bus or 3 or 4, the maintenance on those alone, I mean, it's just...
Yeah, and you're not having shows to come in and cover those costs the whole time.
But you got to think, some of these artists sell $50,000 to $200,000 in merch every show.
That's still insane to me. That's one thing that I've noticed. I'm glad you brought that up, too. That's one thing I've noticed, our times have completely changed over the course of, how we interact, how we do things publicly, how we take in information, how we consume concerts. But that's still one thing that's kind of held true. It's you make a shitload of money off your merch. If you go to these concerts and especially if you have a big artist at any big venue and you go there like Garth Brooks or something, you're going to pay fucking $70 for a t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people pay for it.
And, so there's other people around here that have merch.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them that play that don't have merch.
No, there's a lot that don't.
And my thing is, or they have it, but they don't set it up when they play at a restaurant. I'll play some of the Mexican restaurants in town, including Key, but I'll play at San Miguel on Barksdale or on Benton.
You just played Monzones the other night, too.
Yeah.
I love that little spot, man.
So I will literally, I have some vintage suitcases that my wife got in an estate sale a long time ago. They're yellow, vintage looking. Yeah. One's about this big, the other one's about like that. And I will set up, I have 3 shirts on one and 2 different ones on another, 2 hats, koozies, CDs. I basically bring a retail store to a Mexican restaurant, and I'm playing in the corner. And I tell people about it too, because it's they will assume that you were hired to be the background music at the restaurant, and they will ignore you if you don't tell them who you are, talk to them.
I'm glad you brought that up too. I did notice that when we were in Mexico. A lot of times people don't do that. You're connecting with your audience right there. Just that one simple thing makes people pay attention.
My thing is, and one of my, like I said, I'm at the point now where I don't really, not that I don't care, but I'm not gonna worry myself with everybody else's opinion because I know who I am. But one of my favorite people of all time is Michael Jordan.
Okay.
So I'm 38 years old, okay. So I was alive and watching his games when he was winning championships. Yeah. Old enough to understand and be competitive, but I got it then. I had all the sneakers, and I'm wearing J's right now.
Nice.
But you know what I'm saying? But he inspired me growing up, and what kid didn't want to be like Mike at some point if you were, you know what I'm saying? But later in life, and during 2020, and I got off topic. I got ADD. We're gonna.
Dude, it's fine.
We're gonna reel it.
That's what it's about.
We're gonna reel it back in.
That's what it's about, dude.
But during 2020, pre-2020, I was getting kind of jaded. I played music for a long time. I realized it's I'm touring Neal McCoy, but I'm still playing the same little restaurants in Shreveport when I'm not. It's I haven't done this, and why is so and so doing this? And I was looking at other people and feeling jealousy. It's an honest thing. And sometimes people in Shreveport have the hardest time giving their buddies credit.
Man, it's a weird market, man.
But
I've caught a lot of shade on just doing this little thing.
That's what I'm saying. But what I'm getting at is during that 2020, all the hustle and thing I was doing, it stopped for a little bit. Had time off with the family, just at the house, and I still work a little bit. And I had time to just kind of marinate on everything I've done in life. And then The Last Dance came out, the Bulls documentary.
Yeah.
I watched it. Then I watched it again. Watched it about 5 times in a row, just back to back to back.
Reignited the flame, didn't it?
Dude. And so it sparked me buying sneakers, which my wife probably wasn't super happy about at first, but she's okay with it now. But, but it's not, the point is Michael Jordan's mentality was when he was first in college, he wanted to be the best, and they were telling him, you have to work harder than anybody else. And he took that to heart. And he did that. He worked harder than anybody else his whole career. And eventually is basically the GOAT in basketball, And it's not just about that, but like when you watch it, you watch other interviews. My goal is to work harder than anybody else. Not to be better than you.
Yeah.
But I know that I want to go to sleep at night knowing that while I did whatever I did it to the fullest. So if I'm playing at a restaurant in Shreveport, I'm bringing my merch and setting it up. I'm going to tell you about all the things that I've done. If kids come up and request songs, I'm going to give them some of my guitar picks and my name on it. I'm going to hand out business cards to every table on the break, every break. So I don't really get a break. And then, I tell them to tip the staff. And if you got any left over, this is my tip jar or whatever. And I just constantly do that and let them know more and more about me and my family and stuff. And by the end of the night, I feel like I've made friends with the crowd. And, they tip better. They'll buy my merchandise. And, yeah, it'd be nice if I sold out a theater somewhere to 600 to 4,000 people. But if you play a restaurant and connect with them, and I play my original songs in between the covers and they like it and they buy my stuff and they tip it, it's a good feeling. And I feel like I've worked as hard as I can.
Yeah, you're not just going in there and just playing, you're branding yourself at the same time.
But I used to do that.
Connection.
I used to do that.
And a lot of people do. They get caught in there's so many local artists, and not here anywhere, that just get caught playing those gigs and realize that they're dependent upon those little gigs, and they just kind of lose sight of what the focus is, or maybe the focus shifts, and they're just there drinking the whole time and playing and not so much worried about the next step. Right. Or you have the side tour, like you said before 2020 hit, where you were playing here locally when you weren't on tour, but you had at some point realized, okay, I'm ready to take it to the next level.
Right.
And to be able to grow myself, I have to quit being on tour and use that time to go, abroad and play. And as what's doing the exact same thing you're doing here, but doing it in other places.
And there's any younger artist that ever has a question for me, I mean, if they're listening to this podcast and want to hit me up on any of my social media stuff, I'm always willing to lend an ear and a helping hand and tell you some things I wish I'd done different. But what it comes down to is working harder to get better than anybody else is going to work. Because if you're not willing to put in the work, there's a lot of sacrifice in that, and finding the balance, like sometimes at the house, putting the phone on Do Not Disturb and just saying, okay, work time's over. Dude. It's just me and you and the kids now. We're hanging out. Sometimes my wife will remind me, she's like, we're watching a show. We're hanging out together at the house. We're not doing work anymore. I said, I'm not going to put it down.
Dude, I've had to swallow that pill hard.
It's tough.
I got married and we have kids, and it's like, I've realized that it's so much more cleansing and beneficial to just shut it off when you're there.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever you're all there to connect, and then just find the times when to turn it on. After they go to 2. But after they go to sleep, then
how old are they?
6 and 7.
Okay, well, mine are 4 and 2, both boys.
But it's a lot of time. It requires a lot of time, and a lot of people, like you said, they, if they consume themselves with this and, kind of lose sight of why they're doing it, why you're doing it. So, you know your why already. Now it's just, capitalizing on the why,
Yeah, I mean, 100%, because it made me grow up a lot. Getting married made me grow up a lot. And then us, having our first and buying a house, and there's more riding on it. But still, like, I had a fire lit under me after 2020 that I never had before. I mean, maybe I did at one point, but I really did get jaded. I mean, it's so easy to get jaded.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to everybody. I feel like I got jaded in the work thing where I was just complacent. I'm always hustling, always, but still it was like, man, let me take this time to figure out how to grow this thing, which was great for this podcast. Like, had 2020 not happened, I probably wouldn't have took it to the next level with guests, reaching out to people that I just knew were going to say no, but I was like, well, shit, they're all at home right now too. This is probably the best time to catch them.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started. I was like, okay, well, let me reach out to this person. Had I not done that, this thing probably wouldn't have lasted as long as I would have lost momentum and said, okay, well, it's not going where I'm going, So it happens, man, but it's just like something, a switch has to flip, but at the same time, you got to have that work ethic, man. And that's another thing you're talking about, being the hardest worker in the room. Like, dude, I preach that all the time because people, you either got it or you don't, man. It just is what it is. No. You can't watch a motivational video, wake up and just go, you either got to have it or not,
Yeah, sometimes you got to, I've always had the drive. I mean, if I look back and just I've tried to write down all the things I've done to make not necessarily a bio, but a list of things I've done, and I've forgotten a lot of the things that I've done, and you realize I really was hustling back then.
Yeah.
I was out there playing. I mean, shoot, when I was barely old enough to be in a bar playing, when downtown was a little bit more like live music oriented at one point, because there was at least 4 or 5 bars that had live music. So I would play back when Alligator Joe's was open.
Yeah,
I forgot what it's called now. It was Overtime for a while.
I don't even know if you have like 2 places down here that has live music now, maybe?
There's
Fatty's and Noble.
And Noble's not open.
Oh, they're not open? Mm-hmm. Dude, they didn't make it through the... I didn't even...
No, I heard there's talks of them.
Oh, dude, I used to love the blues night, going there in the blues night, dude.
But I would play 10 to 2
at
a bar. Then I'd play 2 to 6 at another bar.
Shit.
I did that for years.
That's right, because you get 2 gigs in a night, man.
When I tell people our bars don't close till 6 or don't have to close till 6, they're like, what? It's like, nothing good happens after 2 o'clock.
No, it doesn't, dude. It does not.
I'm just saying. I mean, but yeah, I mean, 2020 changed me. It really did. And then, like, as cliche as it sounds, but like, watching that Last Dance documentary, I was looking at like just applying it to I'm a basketball fan too, but applying it to my life. And then, when Michael Jordan is the pinnacle of athleticism, and then fame because of it, I can apply it, but like when I see another artist or someone who's a maker of something, an entrepreneur trying to do something, I can, take from them because it's more relatable to me. And I just realized that I wasn't doing it right. And I leave every day when I'm going to the gig at the smallest little hole in the wall place that I'm going to make the best of this day. When I get done every time, my wife will say, "How did it go?" And I'll say, sometimes it's better for different reasons. Sometimes I make more tips than I would have imagined making at that gig. Yeah. That must mean they really like me. And I didn't sell 1 shirt.
Yeah.
Sometimes I played at San Miguel off Benton Road and sold 12 shirts at a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And like you'd think I was at a concert and they were loving my stuff. And it's like, but sometimes you don't make a lot of tips or sell anything, but 2 or 3 people were blown away by it, and then they follow you on social media or something, and they come and see and bring 20 people to see you the next time.
Yeah.
So, but if you go in with a bad attitude and being negative, it's just you're not utilizing. You know what I mean?
You're not walking in with the most potential, right? You're literally shooting yourself in the foot for even walking the door.
I feel like now there's energy in the most dead room you can imagine.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
There's energy in there. It's just untapped.
You got to find it.
Somebody in there is going to like something you're going to do or something you're going to say, or I don't know. I want to be a positive influence, whatever I can do. Yeah. When it's entertaining people and whatever, and it's been working out for me. And, it might all change next week, and I might not make any tips or sell anything, and gigs might slow down, but I'm still going to give it my all. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm trying to grow, but I'm happy. We're happy as a family where we're at, and I feel like that's just what it's about,
Well, a lot of people never find that, man.
It's hard.
They lose sight of something. They lose sight and focus on just the getting to the top there, and don't even, I feel like once you realize that you can like bask in the journey, then it makes that journey so much better. Reflect on all the things, instead of just it being a blur to the top. And then you get to the top and you left all this behind that was there the whole time you didn't even see.
Yeah. It's all about that, the journey. And I'm excited about it.
I mean, dude, you got your second win. You're rolling now.
Yeah, man. It's funny. It's like, I was like, why couldn't I be like this when I was 22?
Dude, that's how
I'm 38 years old.
I say the same shit to myself all the time.
I don't feel 38. I mean, I feel like I have more energy than teenagers. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm kicking, but still, it's just like I don't think I was ready for the responsibility till now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all I'm talking about. God having a plan that's for the long haul and not necessarily on your time.
Right.
It doesn't. Whatever somebody believes, that's up to them. But just being able to see the big picture and how you got that more responsibility when you were ready. Yeah. We waited until we were in our 30s to have kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know I would have taken care of a baby if I had one when I was 21, but I'm so glad I didn't.
But you wouldn't have been your best capable. You wouldn't have your best capable mindset or physical or whatever. Would be monetarily. You just you made the responsible decision.
I know I was a really late bloomer.
Yeah.
getting better shape now that I'm older. I'm in better shape now than I was when I was younger. And doing more things. But I mean, hey,
same here, dude. I feel like I caught my just a complete life turnaround after 30, and it's just like,
yeah.
Like you just, I don't know, stuff starts coming in perspective. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
So tell me about. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about. We mentioned this earlier. Like the whole behind the scenes of booking, even though you said you have someone that's helping you out a little bit, and you're helping them out, whatever. But like just the whole process, because so many people. I always love talking about this because so many people don't understand the grind of constantly trying to keep yourself booked, make sure you can make a show, the travel expenses incurred, and all that, all the hustle.
Yeah, so most anything in the region I book, because I mean I've been doing this for a long time, so my name's out. I'll get a call from somebody that I haven't talked to in 10 years. I've had to keep the same phone number. That's key.
Yeah, you got to do that.
I feel like every other day someone texts me, I got a new phone. I'm like, so now I have their name and what year.
Yeah.
And some of my friends, they have like 6 different ones in the last 5 years. Anyway, that ain't good for business. But just the guy from Tough Luck Records he's booking me, looking for out-of-town stuff, opening slots for national acts, just different things. And it's a constant grind, but I've been doing it for so long that now if I'm in the region, I don't have to just beat down doors.
Okay.
And I was making a list. There's like 10 places here in town I don't play. I don't know why, I just haven't.
You haven't reached out, or they hadn't reached out?
Well, I mean, I've got my spots that I like, and I believe. One thing I always preach is, obviously, things could be certain better in Shreveport, Bossier, different things.
Dude, I mean, everyone's,
when someone says, there's nothing here, I want to say something that might not be the right thing, but what I would do instead, I preach this when I'm playing at
I heard you
shows.
say the other night.
Yep. I do it every time unless I'm just, I don't know, just about every time you'll hear me say that there's a lot of bright spots, and that from the local breweries, from Great Raft and Seventh Tap, Key Mexico.
Boys over there at Seventh Tap too. Love those
and
guys.
Then the whole East Bank district.
Yeah, dude.
Everything that Bo and them are doing over there, it's
we
killer.
gotta talk about that too.
The new stage is awesome. I haven't played on it yet, but I'm about to.
I know. Let's talk about that.
But to finish up the whole behind the scenes thing, I just ordered like 11 by 17 posters that have a blank spot. You can write in the date, and I can mail it out to out of town venues. Little handbill size flyers, like my business cards that I hand out. I had to reorder all that. I'm like having to order merch, and then like you got to worry about the stock of the merch. Like,
well, oh yeah. By the way, thanks for the shirt.
Oh yeah, no worries, man.
Check this thing out.
It's my little logo.
It's the logo.
It's one of them.
I like it. I like simple.
Yeah, man.
I like it simple and clean. Heck yeah.
But yeah. So just trying to keep stock on all that and everything, and then like my wife's really organized when she's graphs, numbers. If we buy a piece of furniture, it has to be put together. She reads the instructions and then put together. Me, I come up with 3 or 4 things like, I don't think this was necessary.
Yeah, you get halfway through it and one panel's backwards or some shit. That happened to me before.
Yeah. So but yeah, it's when you're up there playing music, you feel like you're not working. To me now, I don't feel like I'm just having fun every time I play, whether I'm on a stage or stuffed in the corner. But it is 24/7. That's what I'm saying. You got to turn it off. Like,
yeah.
Unless it's an emergency that comes through, like, hey, something got canceled, or I'll check some notifications. But if I look at my phone at 10 o'clock at night, it gets my brain back working again. I'm like thinking I have to just turn it off.
I'm the same way, man. And here's the thing: if you're, it depends on what you want to do. Like if that's your thing, where you have a goal and you don't have a family and you want to focus on that, then grind your ass off. I was doing it the whole time. I mean, I know how it works, but like you got to reflect on the things that matter to you at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about. So you don't have to grind that much as far as finding gigs around here, but let's talk about back in the day when you did. How did that operation work? Well,
so having my mom and dad play music for a living in this town, people still knew them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they were still playing some gigs out whenever I was playing gigs out. So we were like gigging at the same time at different venues, But I would go to every jam, sit in with people and let them see me play multiple instruments. And then, so for a long time, I was the fill-in guy. I'd play drums, bass, or guitar every night, different instrument with a different band, playing songs I don't even know. And that's how I got my name out there.
Okay.
Just always playing and not trying to show off, but to show off what I can do. So, it'll gain me work like a live calling card. But yeah, I'd reach out to places, and you say you just started playing. You think you're good enough to play out a gig. You find a venue, find their booking email. You email it. The different person's booking. It's not even that person anymore. Yeah. You call and they say, well, you call back at 7 when so-and-so shows up. Here. Yeah. Then you call back from the manager. They say, well, actually, we started using this other guy. We don't have his number yet. Call back tomorrow at 5. This other guy's got his number. I mean, it is just, and it's still that way when you're trying to reach out to an out-of-town venue. Like my booking guy reached out to Magnolia Motor Lounge in Fort Worth. It's pretty legendary. It's a dive bar, but it's a legendary place. He reached out about me opening for someone, and I don't know if they open the email or not. They get tons of emails. But through a connection I have, Josh Weathers, who's actually coming to play there at Hurricane Alley in June, which I'm playing with him that day too. But I know some of their band guys, and they got me to open up for them. So I played Magnolia Motor Lounge that way. So you can send emails 10 times, but if you know the one guy that knows somebody, hence being positive all the time, shaking hands, introducing yourself, meeting people. You never know, the one drunk guy at the corner of the bar might actually be a connection 10 years down the road that gets you a gig.
You never know who knows who, man.
Yeah,
I've been floored of how networking and growing, my network of just like, you got to keep, even though that person doesn't look like they're anybody significant to what you're trying to do,
right?
Dude, you never know who someone knows.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, 100%. It's. Yeah, so it's always been a grind. It's still a grind, but the only breathing room that I would say I have now is that as far as having enough work to make money to support my family like I want to, and be able to actually enjoy myself too, and not be money crunching. People are calling me for gigs, and I only reach out to 2 or 3 people, and they would already call me anyway, but when you got 30 guys wanting gigs, or girls too, wanting gigs here in town, if you don't text them, they may forget, so they'll skip you for a month, not intentionally. I've missed a few months at Key Mexico before, and Rodrigo was like, man, we got to get you back in here. I was like, oh, I forgot, I forgot to text you. He forgot to text me, So yeah, but it's constant, like I'm going to schedule a day this week to go through my phone and figure out what holes I have in my calendar between now and June to fill. There's not a lot, which is good.
Yeah.
But still, if you lax up for a week or 2 or 3, you're gonna miss out.
Yeah, I mean it's a build up because you're building something up far out, and if you just miss those couple weeks, the next thing you know, you're at that time filling gigs, and you could have had more time to plan them. It just works. I mean, it's just how it works, man. It's like a time management thing too. That's the hardest shit for a lot of people too. Like I figured it out early on, but like that was the one thing like that makes or break people right there. Like it literally will.
It breaks me every other week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my wife is the list queen. I mean, when I say she's my better half, she really is. I mean, I already play music for a living, but I owned like 2 or 3 shirts, a couple pair of pants, like a pair of slip-on Vans.
Yeah.
Well, but in my defense, my house had flooded, lost everything.
Damn.
And then we rented a studio downtown.
When did this happen?
In 2009-ish.
Dang, okay.
It was when we had that tornado and this church steeple fell off the Methodist church down there on Texas Street.
Yeah.
That same storm flooded waist-deep water in my house and my studio.
Man. Lost it all.
Just about lost everything. And then over on Marshall Street, right by the courthouse, there was a little studio in there, no gear in there, and we leased it. A sprinkler burst on the 3rd floor, flooded all of our stuff. And whatever didn't get wet the first time got wet that time. Luckily, nothing was turned on, so I had a professional electronics person take it all apart, clean it, dry it out, and only 1 or 2 things broke after that. But still, just dealing with all that. So when I met my wife in 2010, I was playing in Stiff Neck Fools, the reggae band.
Yeah, I didn't know you played in
I was a founding member of it.
I've just heard of them. I guess I saw y'all play at some point in time, probably drinking out.
Well, we were playing a Tuesday night jam at Noble Savage with Dan Sanchez.
That's where I saw you play then. Definitely.
So he had passed away. He's passed away years ago now, but I was the bass player for Stiff Neck Fools, and we started it. Then I quit. And when Dan Sanchez got cancer, I came back and played guitar. I was playing a tiki bar, and that's how I met my wife. She was coming to reggae night, and then once we met and started dating, I quit and left that weekly bar gig because but anyway, that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, ever since then, I've become a little more organized. But it took a long time. Yeah. So when I say she's my better half, it's 100% true. If I could be as organized as her, there's no telling what I could accomplish. I'm working on that.
Yeah, man, it's a trade-off, dude. It's taken me, it's taken me like years to figure out the calendar thing. But my wife would be like, "We got this." I told you about it. I'm like, dude, you got to put that shit on my calendar.
Yeah,
like, it's so. I know that's super formal to be even personalized stuff, but dude, like it comes down to literally breaking down every single hour of my day. So I'm like, send me an email invitation on my calendar that way I can put it there. Because if not, I will forget about that shit. Like, I just will, man.
Yep. We have a little calendar that it's some kind of app. I forgot what it's called, but you can do grocery lists and all kind of stuff. I'm sure we could probably use Google and it'd be free, but we paid for a subscription thing.
Whatever works, man.
But anyway, it's on there, and you can put all 4 of our family members on. You can put who's going and whatever, and it does it saves because I've got to do that, and then I've got through my website. I power the calendar through Bands in Town. So I can upload it to Bands in Town. It automatically goes on my website. So I have my home calendar for my family, and then one calendar for my online stuff.
So you're doing it right then.
I used to have 3 or 4 different calendars. You have to update it. It's like it's just too much.
Yeah, dude, that's how I am. I have one calendar, but I have 4 different emails, so it's just all synced together.
Dude, when you get through my email, you've got like my oldest email that still got some bill things, and then
you can't get rid of.
I got my merchandise one, my booking email, my merchandise sales one. It's like. I think I just added another one. There's just a studio email too. So it's like.
Well, let's talk about that. So you got a show coming up. We just had an amazing, huge event last week before last, Friday before this past one, to kind of start the venue off, Hurricane Alley Live down in the East Bank, and you got a big show coming up down there.
It's the 24th, I think.
Man, that's your call, not mine.
Let me grab the old cellular device.
Let's get this plug real quick.
Let's check it out here. Let's see. Speaking of calendars. Yep, it's Thursday, March 24th.
Okay.
And it's on the new big stage there in Hurricane Alley, which is behind Frozen Pyro and Bo Jackson, all that. And Steel Woods are playing, which they're one of the top Americana acts. They're blowing up. Their music's really good. It's got a rootsy just vibe to it. But I'll be playing solo acoustic, opening up. And
that's awesome.
I don't know what time I'm starting, but just get down there early because it could get packed.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. They're huge, and that and you fall right in that genre too, so it works out perfect for you.
Yeah, man. Like I never realized I should call myself Americana.
Well, I've never met an artist that called himself it's just interesting because you're so, like I said earlier, you're so well rounded, man, and listen to your music. Like, what box you put that in? I know it's Americana, but still, it's different.
I'm listing it as Americana because when you listeners go look up Americana music, and most people considering themselves Americana has a strong country to bluegrass feel.
Yeah, or folk, even some of that in there.
But then you go to folk or bluegrass.
It's a mix. Yeah,
and Americana is the blend of all those.
Okay.
But anybody could call themselves Americana if it's like straight country, you should just call it country.
Yeah.
Americana, it gives me, if not, I have to do singer-songwriter or something, because I was looking at you look up artists like John Mayer, he's kind of folky.
Yeah, where do you put him at?
He's kind of, looking on Apple Music, it says rock.
Well, see, but he's not.
No,
but he can play rock.
He rocks, it could be, some of it's just real pop, some of it's blues, some of it's, but my point is it really doesn't matter, but it sort of does. It just depends. I mean,
it's just finding your demographic, knowing what they like compared to you,
people that like. There's some country music purists that do not like rock and roll.
Yeah,
very few.
Yeah,
most people that like country like rock and roll, and that they like.
If you're from here, they like country and they like hardcore, ghetto rap.
Yeah, well, I mean,
all between that.
But yeah, I mean that's
how I grew up.
But yeah, we all did too. Yeah. But still, it's like I like the Americana genre, and I'm going to release music under that umbrella because I'll have the freedom to do whatever I want to do. And when I'm going to put out the few singles, but when I put out a whole record, you'll get to see the full, well-rounded me of everything that I do. Yeah. But it's going to have a common thread in sound, But that's my playing has a certain sound to it, and there's some other great musicians that I'm going to hire and get in on my album. So I don't want to play everything on it just because I can. I want to add some different flavors and things to it, but I'll probably play most of the instruments just because I know how I want it to feel and sound, and like a painter's not going to get another painter to paint on their painting,
right?
But music's a little different.
Yeah, you have a very unique mentality where most people they're just focused on getting the song out there.
Well, as far as drums, bass, and guitar, which is like the main vibe of the song, the way it grooves and feels, the way a drum beat feels, the way the bass line is going, all of that's what I have a very strong picture of in here.
And you produce all that. Well, let's talk about this. So when you're touring, you replicate that, and your band is your sister, and then who's on drums?
His name's Cody Lowry.
Okay, so they're able to get your exact sound.
Pretty close. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. So that's amazing to find that where you can produce it, but they can replicate it.
When you see a Nashville act like any of them that comes through an arena show, those guys learn the album. They're pros. They hire people that learn it just like the record, and it feels pretty close, But a lot of times that artist had a studio band hired for him, so they didn't play all the stuff. But like someone like Lenny Kravitz, like he plays drums and bass on all his own stuff, and it feels a certain way. And it's like that hit me hard a long time ago. I was like, I want it to sound and feel a certain way, But I'm gonna have a lot of guest musicians on there because it adds a flavor. All the keyboards will be played by somebody else, unless there's some weird thing that I want to play, but probably not. I'm not. But it's you gotta have band practice for that stuff too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To make sure the band can pull it off sort of like the record. But I'm fortunate. I mean, my sister is a great bass player and you get to play with family. Cody's been playing with me off and on since 2002.
Damn, okay, yeah. 20 years,
different bands. We've had a lot of different bands we've had over the years, but he's still kicking it. And then, sometimes I have to fill in drummers. It just depends. But
at what moment did you look back and say, okay, this is real. I'm no more side hustles, no more nothing. Like, this is it. I'm going full-fledged into this, and this is what I'm going to do for a living.
2001.
2001, so it's been that long, and you've been grinding since then.
I graduated from Caddo Magnet High School, 2001. I was going to go to Northwestern.
Yeah.
I didn't apply for a music scholarship in time, so they give me like the bass scholarship. I was going to be in the band, playing snare drum or whatever. I think I was going to have to march, too, because you got to start off.
Yeah.
You don't just go straight to the jazz band. Yeah. And I was playing in a studio here in town that's gone. It was called Deerview Studios. It was out off of Leonard, like Ellerby area.
Okay.
But it's not there anymore. But I was playing drums with this band, and Joe Nato they were in the front office. I didn't know there, and they came in there and said, "Hey, come here. You want to come in here, man?" And they said, "Hey," I thought Joe Nato was. I mean, he was famous to an extent. He was on Kenny Wayne's album covers. I'd seen him play concerts, whatever. And I was like, "It's Joe Nato."
Yeah.
So anyway, I went in there, and he was like, "What do you think about being my drummer on tour?" And I was like, "Being your drummer on tour?" I was 17 years old. I was like, they're like, "It'll pay really good too." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I was like, I've asked my mom. I mean, you know what I mean? So we set up a meeting, and my mom, we all met there, and they were like, we want your son's talented. We want him to come on the road with us. We think, it would be good. And my mom's like, yeah, but, y'all better not hurt my baby, whatever. Yeah. And so anyway, but right then, when I was on the road playing every weekend, making good money, I mean, all my friends had jobs. I'd make more in one gig than they make in the whole, 3 weeks of work. You know what I mean? Because it was great. I still lived at home with my parents. I'm 17 years old. And I found a way to hustle and make my living playing music the whole time. The only time I didn't play music for a living was in 2006. I decided to stop and sell cars.
Okay.
My dad sells cars.
Just randomly?
Well, I'd moved to Nashville.
Kind of burnout or something?
Well, yeah, I moved to Nashville with a band, and it didn't work out. I was just the drummer in the band, so it didn't work out. I didn't want to stay in Nashville. I wanted to come back home. Because I knew I could make real money playing gigs, and I was like, I'm just had a job offer, so I went to work at Hebert's Town and Country for okay. I went to middle school with their family and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, but I liked it. I was getting pretty good at it for 3 months in training, and then I was like, I woke up one day and I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then I went right back to playing music. I still ran sound for some bands and stuff, like at Flanagan's and stuff like that. But yeah.
That's an old name drop right there.
I know
I haven't heard that in a minute.
There in the filling station and all that. But I pretty much, in 2001, I knew, after getting paid actual money to play music, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I never in a million years imagined it would lead me to tour with somebody like Neal McCoy, and I play with Casey Donahue a little bit too, but to travel all over the country and in other countries and be able to do that and find a wife, you know, and have this beautiful family and be able to support them playing music, and it's just late bloomed into what's going on now, me as my own entity and my brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went all in from the first.
What do you think the most game-changing moment is through this entire process on the music side for you?
Man.
And it doesn't have to be like game-changing in the form of success, but just like maybe like one thing that just sticks out when they're like, tell me a good story about something crazy.
Related to career stuff?
Yeah.
There's two things.
Okay.
Well, let's say three things. Okay. The first thing is getting a tour with Joe Nato.
Right.
When he put his album out, it was produced by Greg Archillo, who had produced Matchbox 20 and all this stuff. And he wasn't playing with Kenny Wayne Shepherd anymore. But to me, these are grown men. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know if they were in their 40s or 30s. I don't know how old he was then. I was only 17. I was like, wow. So I got to do this. That was one thing, and it just let me know that I could actually legitimately make it a living, and I could name drop. Not name drop, but, you know, like, hey, I'm playing.
That's just on your resume.
Yeah, exactly. But then I did all kinds of hustling between then and like 06. Told you I went to Nashville. It didn't work out. Sold cars.
We'll circle back to that too, by the way.
Sold cars, but when I after the car sales thing, I got an offer. Do you know Cameron Michelle?
Oh man, I know that name. Why do I know that name?
He's a musician. He's an amazing artist. He didn't do that anymore. Okay. He does other stuff now. But anyway, long story short, he had a band called Forever Like Red that was signed to the Echo label in the UK. Okay. I get a phone call from him. I don't really know him that well. He's like, hey, you want to come be in the band and tour all over Europe? So I left and fly off to London and live there. And
what year was this?
07.
Okay.
The label dropped us after, it wasn't, I mean, we wrote like an album worth of music in the rehearsal studio. We played some cool shows and stuff, but that made me like see the world, get out of the Shreveport mentality, and like been a different country, you know, one of the biggest cities in the world. It's, you know, so that would be the second thing. And the third thing would be playing with Neal McCoy.
Yeah.
Because he is the best entertainer you'll ever see.
He's awesome, man.
He's funny.
He's awesome.
You don't know if you're at like watching a comedian, like a circus act, a cover band, or this 90s country star. He's just a personality, and watching him just be himself all the time and acting silly and whatever. And I realized, like, you know, I don't have to be so serious all the time, you know, and like now I'm having a good time at my shows, and I owe just about all of my entertainment factor to him.
Yeah.
100%.
He's awesome, man. He does like, he's so great about giving back to the community where he's from, you know. And Trinity Trigg's a good friend of mine. They came, you know, Trinity used to play with them all the time too.
Trinity's my boy.
He does a great job of doing the same thing. Yeah. Just always a good time, no matter what. Like literally, just always positive.
But those are the three things, and then like obviously my mom and dad playing music that got me into it, you know. But I mean, I'm leaving a bunch of things out. But those are not the only three things, but they were three. Like I was a kid in high school.
Yeah, that's
playing in high school.
Then
all of a sudden I'm touring as a drummer, and then, you know, I was doing all these things, had my own little bands and stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm in this signed band living in a different country. Yeah. You know, we thought when we came home for Christmas in 07 we were going to be going on tour with Coldplay the next year.
Damn.
So I was like, I made it.
Insane. That'd be insane.
I know. I made it, but you know, I might be living in a van down by the river now if I'd done that, and I wouldn't be married to my wife and have my beautiful children. Yeah. But yeah, those three things, man. Then playing with Neal McCoy, just I don't know. There's a million other things, but just
of course. Well, tell me about. And first off, I need to get you. I just had Megan Thomas on a couple weeks ago. She's in Nashville, and she does this little segment called I can't think of the name of it right now. Biscuits and something. I can't remember the name of it. I feel horrible, Megan, by the way, for forgetting the name of your show. But she does a morning segment. She's a meteorologist in Nashville,
right?
But she also does a morning segment where she actually does an Instagram show and she talks with unsigned artists and people up and coming. So I need to connect you with her. But I brought that up because Biscuits and Jams was called. Okay. Excuse me. I did not want to forget that. I felt like an asshole.
You got it.
But she had recently had Olivia Harms on, who was a guest of mine probably a month or two ago, and I saw her out and I was like, well, she's awesome. She's helping these local artists and she has her own no-profit and all that. But brings me back to Nashville. So what happened there? Because I've only been to Nashville once, and I got a bad taste in my mouth because I just went full-on tourist route and I shouldn't have. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I could see where so many people go there to make it and literally just fall into those playing those on the strip there and literally doing not much else, and just end up playing, not being able to promote their own songs, end up playing cover songs the whole time, and everyone's so drunk in there, you can't really express your talent, to the right pool of people.
There's a way to do it, but I mean, like I was saying before, if you're putting the positive energy out there and you're being your best self and working harder than anybody else, it doesn't matter where you're at. It'll shine through. But the thing is about Nashville is, like, whatever restaurant you go play here, or we don't have as many venues. Like when you go walk up down Broadway in Nashville, every venue has a stage with a decent PA and some lights. The stage may be right by the door when you walk in, like it is at Noble Savage, or it might be a big stage, But still, it's, and now every country artist has their own bar.
Yeah, they have their own bars now. Yeah, I noticed that too.
But cool, good for them. But the whole point is, like, it's to play covers, and occasionally they'll throw in an original, but it's to entertain the people who want to go to Music City and hear country music.
Yeah.
But you're not going to make the kind of money. You're going to, my friends that gig up there on Broadway, I have friends that do it when they're not on tour with a big artist, they'll do it. And it's fun to go down and jam and sit in. Yeah. Like every time I go, I'll jam with people. I have friends that are playing, I'll play something, whatever. But yeah, it's a lot of fish up there competing for the same
stuff. That's
what
I'm saying, man. Like all in one small pond. You know what I mean?
And it can be pretty pretentious up there, but like I have friends that have record deals that are signed up there. Mm-hmm. Like my buddy Dan Smalley, him? Yeah. I mean, I've known him since forever, but you know what I'm saying? But he made 1 million trips up there, writing songs, got a publishing deal, singing on demos, and then got a big record deal, and now is in a different record deal. He's actually playing here this weekend, I think, somewhere. Okay. Thanks. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, my point is, then I have other friends, like, do you know who Matthew Davidson is?
No, I don't.
He was like the 12-year-old guitar whiz kid here in town. Like, he's over 21 now. But my point is, he started playing. And
I think I did see him somewhere. Yeah, but I didn't know his name.
He went to Belmont for college there in Nashville and got a degree in music and like business probably or whatever. But now he tours with Travis Denning. Who is up and coming country artist. I think he's had a #1. He's had some hits, but he's literally playing arenas, you know what I'm saying? But he played on Broadway 3 or 4 nights a week, 2 or 3 times each night when he was in school. Yeah. And he still goes and does those gigs when he's off. So there's a networking thing to it, but then there's the whole other side, the business side of it, where people are writing songs and pitching them to artists, and they're trying to get their machine going and cook out more artists and more hits, But it comes down to who you know. I mean, I don't know that I want to live there because right now my main living is made from playing live shows.
Right.
I sell merchandise online and, different things, and you can invest your money, but you'd be a garbage man and invest money in something else. There's whatever it is you want to do to make money for your family, but I don't know that I want to live in Nashville. I mean, I like co-writing with guys. I go up and make some trips and co-write and do stuff, but I don't know that Shreveport would be my forever, ever, ever home. But I have family here. I'll probably always have some kind of piece of property here, you know what I mean? But, like, we're right by Texas.
Yeah.
Literally.
A lot closer to Texas.
And real people want to hear real music all the time.
Yep.
I'm telling you. It's... Shreveport doesn't have a lot of venues set up.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not that the talent's not here or the audience isn't here. It's that the event spaces aren't here.
They don't
that's
that's
why I'm so excited about what Bo and them are doing down there, and we are going to play
because it's huge.
Because it's huge, and it's something we've needed forever, and it's sustainable in that area, in the area that's up and coming, and that's going to always stay nice. Everything's kind of just fell in on this side of the river, unfortunately. So, but yeah, man.
I don't know if your thing's still.
No, it's still good. We're good.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
You never know with the phones, man. When I do my Facebook Lives, I'm trying to use the good camera, and I'm like, I can't see myself on it though, so I keep an iPad down there. I'm like looking, okay, I guess it's still working.
Yeah, it's rolling. But I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, we could keep going and going, but like, I mean, we're at over an hour now, so we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything, last words, any plugs you want to put out there?
Oh, I mean, not really. I appreciate you having me on here. And,
find you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on everything. Jimmy Wooten, J-I-M-M-Y, and Wooten, W-O-O-T-E-N. I'm on everything. Jimmy Wooten Music on Facebook. It's follow. Instagram, you know how to do that.
Yeah.
YouTube channel. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, everything. You can Google my name. You'll find my stuff. But I'm always out playing somewhere and doing something. And I've been a little bit of a slow break on some of the social media stuff. I'm gonna still post stuff weekly, but I haven't been doing as much stuff like this where I would go live and just talk to people or play. But I'm gonna start doing a little more of that. Lots of big things in store.
I like it, man. I like the feel of it. I like what you're doing. I feel like an asshole for not even reaching out. But it's honest, it's one of those things, man. You get in the groove of things, and then like I had to see you in person to be like, damn, I really need to get him on because I see he's doing things, and also I like this music. So like I can't just have someone on just because they're doing it. Like I got to be somehow connected to have a conversation that I give a shit about. But yeah, man. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Anytime I do it again sometime, we didn't even talk about everything we talked about.
We'll have to get back. We'll have a round two for sure.
Let's do a round two.
All right, man.